Hey y'all, this home was built in 1984 and there are clues all over it. Not just about when it was built, but why it was built this way. Because homes change when the way that we live changes. So let's read this house together. Our first clue is right here on the exterior. It's 2 stories. By the 1980s, Americans wanted more space, and because homes were being built in the suburbs where the cost of land was rising, it made sense to go up instead of out, like the post-World War II ranch or split-level home. And because homes were being built in the suburbs, life was now car-centric. So you'll see as a common denominator in a lot of 1980s homes is now the attached garage. All right, let's head in for a closer look. By the 1980s, you've got a combination of both your formal, this is a formal living room. You see the nice crown molding with the dental work, added on plantation shutters, jute flooring here added. This would be in the 1980s where people entertained guests, but nowadays we would use it a lot of times as a home office, a playroom. This becomes more of a bonus space than a formal space. Next to the formal living room, you've got your formal dining room. You notice the swinging door of the mid-century is gone because the lines between formal and informal spaces are being blurred. Mid-century, the kitchens were smaller because it was utilitarian. And by the 1980s, it's becoming more and more of a communal space. You see, that's why you've got the eat-in kitchen in addition to your formal dining room. So this would be your den, more of a family space. And a lot of 1980s dens were oriented around your masonry fireplace. Remember, we didn't have these flat screen TVs. We had the bulky TV that would have been on a piece of furniture probably over here or over here. The floor plan loops around to your foyer. You got your coat closet and your half bath and front door to the kitchen. Direct shot, very utilitarian. All right, moving on, you've got your fenced backyard with nice covered patio. This backyard gets a ton of light, which is great. Here you have the access to your 2-car garage with lots of storage space. And then in the 1980s, it was much more common for the laundry room to be a part of the original floor plan, which also, when you have a garage space, it gives you more room at the back of the house. So the laundry room is a great addition. Think about your 1920s, 30s bungalows. The floor plan can feel odd for the laundry room because those had to be added later because these guys hadn't been invented yet. And so by the 1980s, the laundry becomes a seamless part of the house. Then in your more expensive 1980 homes, you've got a lot of times a back access to the upstairs in addition to your hardwood floor entryway and front staircase. So this is your, what we call a frog, front room over garage. This is your true bonus space, very utilitarian. Now, this bonus space opens up into your primary suite. Now, by the 1980s, your houses were being oriented more around owner comfort. So you've got the hardwood floors in this room, whereas you've got carpet in the rest of the second floor. More things to make this part of the house distinct for its owners. You've got a larger than a mid-century attached ensuite bathroom. And this one's been nicely updated. But you do see you've got the 2 closets rather than 1 walk-in, which is more common for today. Now here's your front formal access to upstairs. And then once you get up here, you've got this secondary bedroom, which does have a walk-in, nice. Secondary bedroom, with 2 closets. Full bath in the upstairs for your secondary bedrooms. And a 4th bedroom, which also has hardwood floors, which is great. And they've got it set up, staged as an office, because this would be a great home office. And also you have smooth ceilings, which a lot of 1980s homes are gonna have popcorn. This probably used to have popcorn. Let's see if they, ooh, it even is flat, smooth in here. Sometimes you'll have popcorn removed throughout the house, but they won't pay to remove it in the closets. So these guys sprung for the extra. I'm gonna give you a bonus. We haven't really talked about ceiling height in this house. 1st and 2nd floor, the ceilings are about 8 feet, but are all houses like that? No, and why? All right, in the south, clearly very hot. And so before the advent of central air, they wanted to keep the ceilings high because heat rises. And so in most historical homes, you've got at least 10-foot ceilings. And then the homes that were built like 1910s and prior, they didn't even have central heat. So you're gonna see a fireplace in almost every room because that was their source of heat. Now, once they started getting central heat by boilers and coal and burning oil and stuff, radiators, all those things, it still got really hot in the summer without AC. So you would have the higher ceilings. Then when the interior central AC became more an expected and common feature of homes post-World War II, they dropped the ceilings because you didn't want 10-foot ceilings or 9-foot ceilings then, because you're just spending more money to both heat and cool that space. Now in modern homes, we've gone back to the 9-foot or the 10-foot ceilings because our modern methods of construction and the materials that we use, our double pane windows, insulation, our homes are much tighter. And so we're able to both heat and cool more space in a less expensive way. So I hope that helps make sense of some ceiling heights, why things are the way they are. I hope you learned a few things. I'm Homes with Courtney, teaching you how to read homes. How did I do as your teacher today? Let's do a review as I'm chilling on this back porch area. Okay, the house is 2 stories, but it's not in a historical neighborhood, which means it's in the suburbs. This house is in a fantastic location off of Garrett Road, but when it was built, it would have been considered the suburbs. So it's in the suburbs, it's 2 stories because Americans had more stuff. Price of land was going up, so they went up instead of out like your ranches. It's also more square feet than your typical ranch. Let's see. You have your formal and informal areas. Though those lines are starting to be blurred, largely because, I didn't say this earlier, but women were starting to work outside the home in the 80s. And so that's one reason why kitchens needed to be larger, because more than one person was in there now. Other people had to step up and help with food. And so you've got your formal living room, but you also got your family den. You've got your formal dining room to entertain guests, but you also have your larger eat-in kitchen. By the 1980s, you've got more of a focus on the owner's space. So primary bedrooms are getting larger. They're more frequently having ensuite bathrooms, and those ensuite bathrooms are larger than your typical mid-century one. There were hardwood floors featured in this one rather than being carpeted. So owners are starting to spend a little bit more money on themselves as people were starting to make more money in the 80s and 90s. So I hope that helps make sense of some ceiling heights, why things are the way they are. I hope you learned a few things. I'm Homes with Courtney, teaching you how to read homes.